Hello, I'm Clark Crawford, and welcome back to the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. We've got NFL talk here for you today. Going to go over a quick recap, a very brief one of Week 10 NFL action. How did I do on my NFL picks last week? You'll find out here shortly. And then, of course, I will get into my Week 11 breakdown along with my Week 11 picks. So, with that being said, let's dive right in. We had Week 10 action in the NFL last week where I'm going to stick it to you. Well, I went 8-6 on my picks last week. Not a good week for me. I did have the Ravens beating the Bengals. That was a shootout. What a heck of a Thursday night game that was. Possibly the best Thursday night game of the season so far. We got another good one here for you tonight as I record this video on Thursday with the Commanders and the Eagles. We'll get to that later on in the video. So I had the Ravens beating the Bengals. I had the Giants beating the Panthers. That was really a coin flip for me. The Panthers and Giants, two bad teams, two teams that are going to be picking in the top 10 most likely in the upcoming 2025 NFL draft. The Giants lost in overtime to the Panthers. The Giants could have won that game, certainly, but they didn't. Both teams stink. They're not making the playoffs. It's as simple as we can put it. The Patriots smashed the Bears 19-3. I had the Bears in that one. As like I said, I went 8-6 on the week, so a lot of picks wrong. Definitely my worst week of the year so far. Looking to bounce back this week. Patriots beat the Bears. Bills beat the Colts as expected. Josh Allen, slow start, but was able to recover and beat the Colts on the road. Bills are 8-2. Vikings, in an ugly game, one of the ugliest games of the week, if not the worst game of the week, win 12-7, kicking 4 field goals. Sam Darnold throws 3 picks, all of them, if not in the red zone, near the red zone. I mean, he couldn't find Justin Jefferson to save his life against one of the worst secondaries in football. The Vikings escaped mostly because Mac Jones was playing quarterback for the Jaguars, formerly the Patriots, when the Patriots could have left him in London last year, but they did not. Anyways, the Chiefs have to block a late field goal to beat the Broncos. I mean, that was just a tragedy for the Broncos. They could have been 6-4, sitting pretty and potentially giving them a great chance to make the playoffs, but they choke against the Chiefs late. There's no other way you can put it. I mean, the Broncos played about as well as you can defensively against the Kansas City Chiefs, but they found a way to lose. They just had to make that field goal there at the end, and they would have won. Other things went wrong in the game for the Broncos, but the Chiefs narrowly escaped. They've won nearly 20 games in a row dating back to last season, and, of course, the playoffs as well is included. I mean, at this point, who is going to stop the Chiefs? Because I hope their run ends soon. I'm sick of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Swifties out there, but the Chiefs keep winning, and guess what? They're probably at least going to be in the AFC title game, if not the Super Bowl, and maybe win it all again. I mean, they're that good. They got Patrick Mahomes not even playing at his best, and they're 9-0 for crying out loud. But nonetheless, credit to the Chiefs. They're earning it out there. I mean, some narrow wins, and a lot of people would probably say help from the referees, but the Chiefs keep winning. It's as simple as that. You got to go out there and punch them in the mouth, and nobody has yet to do that and put the Chiefs potentially in their place. Somebody's got to overtake them, and to do that, you got to punch them in the mouth. The rest of your NFL Week 10 recap, the Saints beat the Falcons, another pick I got wrong. The Saints escape late. Derek Carr returns for the Saints, and they beat the Falcons. A game the Falcons probably should have won. Bijan Robinson, 2 touchdowns in this one. It was not enough. The Falcons did not play well at all, and the Saints overtake them, keeping their slim playoff hopes alive. Niners beat the Buccaneers after missing several field goals. Jake Moody is back for the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey made his season debut. Niners beat the Bucs 23-20 in a nail-biter. The Bucs are now 4-6. You lose a couple more games, and the Bucs, who were really a good team last year and nearly could have beaten the Lions in the playoffs last year, well, they're 4-6 now and looking on the outside, looking in of the playoff hunt right now. The Steelers, I thought the Commanders would handle them last week. I still don't believe in the Steelers and Russell Wilson, just my personal opinion. They pick up the win in Washington. Steelers are 7-2, Commanders 7-3. The Chargers beat the Titans pretty handily. I mean, that game, I knew the Chargers were going to win. The Titans are one of the worst, if not the worst team in the NFL right now. They're bad. It doesn't matter if Will Levis or Mason Rudolph is starting at quarterback. The Chargers win that game. They didn't have to escape with one. They won by 10. A good win for the Chargers. Cardinals beat the Jets. I had the Jets as an upset pick. I thought they might carry some momentum from handling the Texans the week before on Thursday Night Football. Unfortunately, I was way wrong on this one. The Jets went back to their old ways most of the season, and they looked atrocious. I looked foolish for picking the Jets, but nonetheless, you win some, you lose some. The Cardinals handled the Jets. I mean, destroyed them 31-6. There is no other way to put it. That was a destruction. The Jets had a meltdown as they've had most of the season. Eagles just beat down the Cowboys 34-6. We all predicted this. I predicted it last week. The Eagles were going to win big. The Cowboys, Cooper Rush had less than 50 pass yards on 13 completions. I mean, when you look at it, it was just a bunch of screens and a little 2-yard like slant route or 2-yard out route. I know the Eagles had pressure all game long, but the Cowboys only tried to throw the ball downfield maybe twice all game. I know once for sure was an incompletion to CeeDee Lamb, but they didn't even try to throw the ball downfield. I mean, at least put Cooper Rush in the shotgun. And I know I'm not an offensive coordinator or offensive guru or anything. I would say I know a lot of football, but at least put him in the shotgun and say, hey, we're going to try a streak route on this play or, a deep cross or something and just throw it up. I mean, as long as it's not in like quadruple coverage, throw it up and give somebody a chance to catch the football. They didn't do so all game long. And, well, the Cowboys looked foolish and looked like kindergartners were out there calling plays. Probably would have been better than Mike McCarthy's play calling. I know your playbook is a little limited with the backup quarterback, but come on. You could have put on a better performance than what you did. And, of course, the sun was a big factor in that game as CeeDee Lamb could have potentially caught a touchdown. But at the same time, Jerry Jones spent over $1 billion on a stadium that the sun reflects through. And at portions of the game, if it is an afternoon game, you can't even see the field. So great job, Jerry Jones, and your abomination of a stadium. And your Cowboys are 3-6. You should have sold the team 15 years ago. But that's another topic for another day. We move to the Sunday night game. The Lions beat the Texans 26-23. Terrible showing for my Texans as I'm a Texan fan. I do live in Houston, Texas. The Texans choked that one away. They were up 23-7 at halftime. What are you going to do? I mean, the Texans had that game in grasp, and they went and choked it away. The Lions, give them all the credit. To me, like I said last week, I still think the Lions right now are the best team in football. They played the most consistent football all year long out of just about any team. The Lions, I still have them 8-1. I know the Chiefs are 9-0 as the best team in football. They went and proved it. They had a great second half, shut the Texans down, and well, that's all you can say about it. I mean, I wouldn't say the Texan play calling was the worst thing. You turned it over a couple times in the second half. Turning it over isn't on the play calling. It's on the execution on the field. I know that's a big topic here in Texan land of, a lot of people want Bobby Slowick fired. Let's slow down. The Texans had opportunities to win that football game. You can't put it all on Bobby Slowick. Now, I think his play calling could improve, do not get me wrong, but it's not all on Bobby Slowick. You still have to execute on the field. Don't just put it all on the play caller. Now, if the Texans were 3-6 like the Cowboys, then yeah, I think there might be time to panic and maybe time to fire the offense coordinator. But let's slow down. I'm not saying he's not on the hot seat or not saying he's close. Let's slow down, give it more time. CJ Stroud is still extremely young. You're supposed to be getting Nico Collins back this week. Let's see if it looks better with Nico Collins. And if it's not better with your best offensive weapon, him and Joe Mixon are 1A, 1B, then we can potentially have the conversation at the end of the season of, okay, if you can't figure it out with Nico Collins, Joe Mixon, no more Stephon Diggs, but you still have Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz, then we can maybe have that conversation to fire Bobby Slowick, but give it more time. Texan fans are overreacting. You're still 6-4. I know it could easily be 8-2. But let's calm down. It's not like they're 3-6 like the Cowboys, as I mentioned. There's still time in the season. I'm not saying they're going to win the rest of their games. I'm just saying take a breath. Like Aaron Rodgers said years ago, relax. It's okay. Texan fans are acting like they should be undefeated. Let's calm down. I'm trying to be a Texans realist, even though I'm still a fan. Let's move to the Monday night game, the last game of Week 10. The Dolphins upset. I'm calling it an upset. Upset the Rams. Not a big upset, but a small upset. 23-15. The Rams managed 5 field goals. Tyreek Hill, welcome back to touchdown land. Finally scores his first touchdown since Week 1. Now, I know apparently he's dealing with some kind of major wrist injury, but still, I mean, if Tyreek Hill's going to be out there, the Dolphins aren't even utilizing him. So I'm just wondering how much that wrist is affecting him. I mean, I still see Tyreek Hill out there trying to block on certain plays. Now, he's not the best blocking receiver in the league, but he's still out there trying to block. So I assume if he's healthy enough for you to run him out there to block, he must be healthy enough to catch passes. I'm not just saying that because he's on one of my fantasy teams, but if I were Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins, I'd be trying to get my best weapon involved. That's just my personal opinion. If you think I'm wrong, let me know down below in the comments. But if Tyreek Hill's healthy enough to play, what happened to the Dolphins offense? Where's the deep shots? They did have one to Jalen Waddle. They found him open down the sideline early in the game. But other than that, it's just a bunch of short passes from the Dolphins. I don't know what's going on in Dolphin Lane. They find a way to stay alive in the wild card hunt because they're only 2 games back to the Broncos from the 7th seed. So if the Dolphins play their cards right and win some games down the stretch, they can still make the playoffs, and they still have a dangerous offense and maybe make some noise in the AFC. So we'll see. Dolphins are kind of a team to watch. I think it's still unlikely they make the playoffs, though. Watch out. They're still a sleeper, and they're not out of it yet. So we will see. They are 3-6. They've got a lot of work to do, but just don't sleep on the Dolphins. All right, your Week 11 NFL predictions and my picks. We start with the Commanders and Eagles game. That is tonight. Maybe the best Thursday night game of the year. Can it top the game last week, Bengals and Ravens, who I know a lot of people tuned in on? We're going to find out. But as for my game pick, Jaden Daniels still a little banged up from that leg injury that he's been dealing with, ankle, leg, knee, whatever it is. The Eagles, I'm going to take the Eagles at home in this one. Jaden Daniels, the biggest key I have for him, he hasn't been running as much, which has slowed the Commanders' offense down just enough that I'm going to take the Eagles in this one. They've been on a roll. They're at home. Jalen Hurts has looked fantastic. Devontae Smith should be ready to go, ready to play. A.J. Brown's looked better over the last few weeks. Saquon slowed down a little bit, but this could be a big Saquon game. The Eagles have the better defense, and the Commanders' defense has been spotty all year. So I'm going to take the Eagles probably by anywhere from 7 to 12 points, roughly 13, 14. The Eagles are going to handle the Commanders. It's still going to be a good game, but the Eagles pull away late in that one. Eagles are my first pick of the week. We've got the Packers and we got the Bears. The Bears let me down in a big way last week. You got to find a way to beat the Patriots. Some people in the Bears organization, some of the players potentially, want Caleb Williams benched. That just smells and spells trouble. The Packers are 6-3 coming off of a bye. Jordan Love should be a little healthier than he has been. I don't know he'll be 100% the rest of the year. But the Packers are going to win that game. They're 6-3. The Bears are 4-5. The Bears also have a ton of offensive line problems. So right now it's hard to pick the Bears, though they did fire their offensive coordinator. Though just firing your coordinator or another coach or something, that doesn't solve all your problems. The Bears are a bad football team right now. The Packers should handle the Bears, even though the Bears are the home team. 2-8 Jaguars, 8-1 Lions. It looks like Trevor Lawrence is not going to play yet again. Even if Trevor Lawrence was playing, I'm still going to take the Lions big in this one. They're too good. The Jaguars have one of the worst defenses in the league, even though the Vikings couldn't figure them out last week. But you go from Sam Darnold to Jared Goff. Jared Goff, yes, he had 5 interceptions last week, but let's be real. He was facing a much better defense than the Jaguars. It's not going to happen again. Maybe he throws 1, 2 picks tops, but I'm going to lean towards maybe 1 tops. The Lions should be able to, especially at home, handle the Jaguars pretty easily. I have the Lions winning by at least 14. We move on. Dolphins and Raiders. I wouldn't say one of the worst games of the week, but definitely a game not many people are looking forward to unless you got fantasy players. The Dolphins should be able to beat the Raiders. They're atrocious. I think Gardner Minshew is starting for the Raiders. Honestly, I've lost track at this point. The Raiders are a really bad football team. They've had guys banged up. They don't even know who their starting quarterback is. Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. I mean, it's been atrocious. The Raiders, like I said, they're a bad football team. The Dolphins are better. Dolphins are hungrier for a win. I could see the Raiders winning, but I'm going to take the Dolphins in this one. They're coming off of a big win on the road against the Rams. They go back home. Dolphins are going to improve to 4-6 and keep inching closer to a potential playoff hunt and playoff spot in the AFC. The Rams visit the Patriots. I'm going to take the Rams in that game. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford bounced back kind of weak along with Kyren Williams. The Rams defense played pretty decent last week, but it was not enough. The offense is what let them down against the Dolphins, and the Dolphins don't even have a great defense on the year. So the Rams are looking for a bounce back to move to 5-5 to keep themselves alive in the NFC hunt, trying to win the division or jump into one of those wild card spots, because the leader in that division is only 6-4. The Rams are not very far back from the Arizona Cardinals, who lead that division, who are also on bye this week. So the Patriots 3-7 will lose to the Rams, who will pick up their 5th win of the year. 2-7 Saints against the 2-7 Browns. I'm going to take the Saints in this one. They picked up a nice win last week. And, well, I have them continuing and going on a little 2-game streak here against the Browns. The Browns are a bad team. They have Jameis Winston starting. I know the Saints haven't shown much, but they're at home. They typically, over the years, have played better at home. So let's take the Saints over the Browns, just mostly because of their home team. Derek Carr is back. Alvin Kamara's been playing well most of the year. The Browns, with Jameis Winston, I mean, he's fine, but the Browns are just atrocious. And, well, they just haven't looked good enough all season. I'm just going to take the Saints. That's a coin flip game, but it can very easily go to the Browns. It's probably one of my least confident picks of the week. But nonetheless, you got to take somebody, and let's take the Saints at home in that football game. Steelers and Ravens probably should be the Sunday night game, but we'll get the Bengals and Chargers. Still should be a good game. I'm going to take the Ravens over the Steelers, like I've been saying for weeks now. I don't trust the Steelers. Russell Wilson, I just think he's due for a blow-up, and the Steelers are overperforming with how good they actually are. The Ravens 7-3, they have been on a roll since their extremely slow 0-2 start. And the Ravens are just a better football team. It is the battle, yes, the battle for first place in the AFC North. The Ravens take over first, excel through the rest of the year, and they will win that division, moving to 8-3. Lamar Jackson is just playing way too well. Now, I know this is probably going to be a low-scoring, ugly game, and we know the Ravens have done this before in Pittsburgh, where they've been the favorite and then come and lost in the Lamar Jackson era. But not this time. The Ravens are going to win. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, too hard to stop. That is too hard to stop. They are going to beat the Steelers on the road in this one and pick up a big, monumental win for their season to keep propelling them to the top of the AFC standings. Vikings play the Titans. After the Vikings beat the Jaguars, well, they're going to beat the Titans this week. The Titans are, well, battling with the Jaguars for one of the worst teams, if not the 2 worst teams in the NFL. And the Vikings should have a bounce-back game in this one. Now, the Titans' defense is a little bit better than the Jaguars, but the Vikings are going to bounce back in this one. I don't think it'll be as close. I think it'll be a semi-close game, because now I'm starting to wonder, can you trust Sam Darnold coming off that 3-interception game? And he potentially has a hand injury, so that concerns me a little. But the Vikings are too good of a team to choke this one away. I'm going to take the Vikings probably by about 7 to 10 points. The Titans are just that bad. It doesn't matter if Will Levis or Mason Rudolph is starting. I don't have confidence in either one of them, even though Tony Pollard has played well this year. But the Vikings are the better team. Let's go with the Vikings on the road in that game. The Colts 4-6, the Jets 3-7. This is kind of one of those toss-up games. But with the Colts now moving back to Anthony Richardson, I'm going to take the Jets in this one at home. The Meadowlands are a tough place to play. And it sounds crazy, but I trust Aaron Rodgers, who's 40, more than I do Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson has just been atrocious so far in his career. He can hardly complete passes at a 50% rate, if that. And so with that, the Jets are due for a game, and if the Jets lose one more game on the season, maybe it'll be two, the Jets are out of the playoff hunt. So the Jets are going to keep their season alive at least for one more week. And I'm going to take the Jets in this one. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, if Davante Adams plays, he's battling an injury. But they still have Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. They got the better offensive weapons, better defense. I'm going to take the Jets, even though they have the worst record. The Broncos and the Falcons. This is another one of those toss-ups with the Broncos being at home. Be careful, Falcon fans. The Broncos have played pretty well this season. I know they're 5-5, so that's kind of crazy to say they played well, but they have. Bo Nix has surprised a lot of people. The Falcons are 6-4. The Broncos are 5-5. But with the Falcons let down against the Saints last week, I'm going to take them to bounce back in this one to move to 7-4. They lead that division in the NFC South, and they're going to continue their division lead with their seventh win in a row, seventh win on the season. Kirk Cousins is going to bounce back with the rest of the Falcons. A good Bijan Robinson game, even though the Broncos have a good defense. But nonetheless, the Falcons are going to take this one, and they are going to get the victory. The Falcons are a better team than the Broncos, and they're going to do just enough to steal one away from the Denver Broncos. 4-5 Seahawks, 5-4 Niners. One of the best division battles in all of football over the past 10 to 15, 20 years. The Niners, the Seahawks, it doesn't get much better than the Niners and Seahawks. 5-4, 4-5. Both of them in desperate need of a win. But the Seahawks are trending down, and I see the Niners is trending up right now. I'm going to take the Niners because they just got Christian McCaffrey back. I know the Seahawks are coming off of a bye week, but that's not going to matter. Christian McCaffrey is the deciding factor in this one. He just came back, and as long as he's healthy, honestly, even though the Niners have had a ton of injuries, it's hard to pick against the Niners. They still have Bosa, Fred Warner leading that defense along with the rest of the crew. They just got McCaffrey back. Juwan Jennings has played well. Debo's healthy. Kittle's healthy. Brock Purdy's healthy. It's too much to overcome. Niners pick up a big win at home, moving to 6-4 and creeping up into potentially first place and stealing that division away after a horrible start to the year. Chiefs are 9-0. The Bills are 8-2. The game of the week, we've got CBS Chiefs versus Bills. I mean, come on now. But this is one of the picks that is definitely the hardest. Josh Allen has played Mahomes well in the regular season. It's the playoffs he's never beat him in. And, well, because it's in the regular season, the Chiefs are long overdue for a loss. They just had Harrison Butker placed on the IR earlier today. I'm going to take the Bills in this one. The Bills are riding high. I know the Chiefs have better offensive weapons and a little bit better of a defense. And, of course, Mahomes versus Josh Allen. But the Chiefs are due for a loss. And, honestly, I think it would be better for their season if they didn't have to hold this undefeated streak, kind of like the Patriots when they lost in the Super Bowl. I think it would be better if the Chiefs suffered a loss in season or potentially two losses, better for their playoff hopes. And I'm going to take the Bills in the little bit of an upset win here, as the Bills could potentially tie the Chiefs and have the tiebreaker at 9-1 over the Chiefs if they win this game in the AFC. And the Bills would take a massive commanding lead in their division, with the Jets and Dolphins, if they win, only having 4 wins, and the Bills up top with 9 if they beat the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Bills in this one. If it comes down to playoff time, I will likely take the Chiefs, but it's the regular season. Josh Allen plays Mahomes better in the regular season. Josh Allen's hungry for a win. He wants to prove himself. He wants the 1 seed in AFC, and for the time being, at least for 1 week, the Bills will have the 1 seed in the AFC. Bengals 4-6, Chargers 6-3. I'm going to take the Bengals on the road in this one. They are the hungriest for a win. I think the Chargers have a little overperformed expectations so far in this year. They have played well. I'm giving the Chargers all the credit in the world, but here's the difference. The Bengals need to win more, and, well, they should have won last week, and they should be 5-5, if not 6-4. They've had some heartbreaking losses this year. I'm not going to count the Bengals out this early in the year. They're going to beat the Chargers on the road on Sunday Night Football. This game was flexed. And, well, I'm going to take the Bengals in a little bit of an upset here. The Chargers have overperformed just a bit this season. I expected Harbaugh to have that team disciplined and functioning well. But like I said, they've overperformed just a little bit too much here, and I think they're due for a loss like this to see where their team is really at, if they're mentally ready, and see if they crater through the rest of the season. But nonetheless, the Bengals are going to pick up a big win and keep their AFC playoff hopes alive right there with the Broncos, and both teams I have at 5-6 tied for the 7th seed after 11 weeks. And then the Monday Night Football, my Texans against the Cowboys, the Texas Showdown. Yes, the Texas Showdown, Battle of Texas, big game for both teams. The Cowboys, if they lose, they're pretty much out of the playoffs, and the Texans need a win in the division to keep pace and keep their division at bay with a large division lead. The Texans are going to run all over the Cowboys here. I need a big week from C.J. Stroud. With Nico Collins coming back, they're going to connect for some kind of touchdown, and Joe Mixon will likely run all over the Cowboy defense. Now, Micah Parsons might keep the game a little close, but the Texans win by, I'm going to give them 10 to 14 points here. Cooper Rush, seeing how bad he played against the Eagles last week. The Texans and Eagles, I kind of see as similar defenses, as in they're both pretty good defenses. The Cowboys are going to be a little better this week, but it is not going to be enough. The Cowboys might get 14 points if they're lucky, but the Texans score at least 20 to 28 to 30 points and win this game. So my last pick of the week is going to be Texans over Cowboys in the Battle of Texas. It is the Texas Showdown, maybe the Texas Massacre, with the Texans winning this game. So there's going to be my Week 10 little recap, how I did. I went 8-6 on the week. Looking to best stat here in Week 11. And, well, those are going to be my picks for the week. Like my video down below, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. I'm pushing towards 200 subscribers. I'm getting close. And, well, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next week for my next NFL video with my Week 11 recap and my Week 12 picks. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see all of you next time on the next edition of Clark Crawford Sports.